the poet. Bury me in a nameless grave. I came from God the world to save. I brought them wisdom from above, worship and liberty and love. They slew me for I did disparage, therefore religion, law, and marriage. So be my grave without a name, that earth may swallow up my shame. Guilt, shame, and fear are of the most natural feelings to have. Now, shame is because of the perception of others, what you think that's going to be. It's important to preserve your reputation to an extent for influence reasons, if no other. Guilt, if you're guilty because of somebody else's law, then, you know, that can put you in the same set of problems. A lot of us will realize that regardless of the monuments that can be erected, the memory, the legacy, and the energy imprint of a life is something greater to work with. And it doesn't really matter if your grave is so lost in terms of its identifiers. And weren't we all sent with a purpose? To encourage some sort of actual good, some sort of actual truth. Connecting that to the actual divine revelation, the actual divine inspiration. Making it about devotion. Whatever rules or regulations that's actually within those stories and such. There's more about freedom that's implied by that than anything else. And of course, we need to do our emotional and feeling work. But people don't want it stripped down to the fundamentals. They don't want it to be about experience and action more than about loyalty to a community or a structure of authority. So I, too, the way people speak of the term religion and law and marriage, like now people use the word Sharia, it's just whatever your ideal system of law is, right? It doesn't, so people confuse that with Islamic law, which they do use the Arabic word, but you know what I mean. It's supposed to be a middle path law. So I wouldn't, whether we're talking about conservative interpretation of religion or whether we're talking about liberal popularism or whatever, I also take an issue with law. And religion, of course, is not the same thing as, just some building or some particular school of thought, as some people call it, and that other thing. And marriage, again, I don't think it's totally up to the state, and some of the rules seem sort of arbitrary. Some of them are actually probably to put more people in prison rather than, because both in the crime that could be committed by both partners and the fact that desires don't start at whatever age that you can get married without your parents' permission or that sort of thing. Perhaps the government should stay in the way of forced marriage. The libertarian interpretation, which Aleister Crowley would be right-wing in that way, because in the middle you have democracy. And then you have the constitutional republic a little to the left, and the constitutional democracy a little to the right. And then I think the next step in government further to the left would be libertarian. And I think Aleister Crowley would advocate for the actual libertarian. I don't mean the party, because everything in America is corporatism, right? Same thing. People pretend like it's not the case in England or whatever, but it sort of is. The corporations rule the roost over there too. And we don't need to list the 3 real branches of government, do we? And yeah. So if people are after one, and your memory is a temptation, it's best that your memory kind of slips away from them.